First thing, you need a motion to approve the minutes of the fire committee. Motion by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Wild. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're going to start with Parks and Rec, or which one do you want to start with?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Referral pending items or action or agenda items or new business, we don't have any. I just have information for discussion and review. On page 1, you'll see that we have the spring zing flyer in there. It's coming up Saturday, May 11th. If you haven't been before, I would ask you to attend. I believe Supervisor Driscoll and Supervisor Leggett I had seen there last year. Last year was my first time going to it as well. It was the second year of the event, and it was attended by many. And especially if you have younger kids or know anybody, bring the younger kids up and let them fish in the pond for some trout. It's a great time. The next thing I have on there is, and this is going to go sort of to the Employee of the Month, this next coming month in May. This is a letter from the Adirondack chapter of Trout Unlimited. They have a program, it's called Trout in the Classrooms, and they were unable through DEC this year to get the trout eggs that they have gotten in the past. So Jeff Ingley, who's our hatchery manager, had gone around to see if he could get any of the trout eggs from anywhere else to help out the classrooms. He was unsuccessful in doing that, so he decided that he would strip the eggs from our own trout at the hatchery and provided those to the classrooms. And this is the letter that was sent back to us for all of Jeff's work. The final thing I have on there is the stocking report. As of right now, we are approximately 13,000 fish stocked out of the 25,000 that we do in-house. We typically do about 50,000 overall, but the other 25,000 is through DEC to help them stock. So we're about halfway through. Right now we have very high water, so we're unable to do anything for now, but the temperatures are just right, but they'll hold off till the water goes down a little bit. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We did, we're going to talk about the railroad.
Yep.
We did have responses to our RFP on the railroad, and actually we have something we're going to pass out. You guys have copies? Or?
No.
Okay.
I'll keep two. Got one, Matt? Yeah.
Kevin is going to hand out an outline of our RFP decision-making process.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So we had 4 responses, 2 that were lease proposals and 2 purchase proposals. And
One.
or one,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
The fourth response was essentially, the cover letter stated that it was not a response to this proposal. It was intended to keep that particular company's name out there, and they responded to the prior RFP that resulted in Mr. Ellis getting the railroad contract. Again, they just wanted to remind us who they were and what they're doing out there.
So would you like to expand it all on anything?
Sure. The purchase proposal that we received was, and they made clear in the proposal they were not interested in an operating contract, strictly a purchase. This was by a company called RailNet International. They're local. The 2 lease-to-own proposals, I see that we have one of the proposers here now in the room, Mr. Steve Fisk, Mr. Jack Kelly. They are from representing United Rail. And the other lease-to-own proposal came in from Omnitrax, which is a freight company out of Colorado.
Okay, and at this point, we need to go into a short executive session to discuss the contractual negotiations within these RFPs and for sponsors. Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Diamond. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Did you across the river yesterday? So we're out of executive session. There were no decisions made in executive session. We'll, so we're back in regular session. There were no decisions made in executive session. No resolutions, no actions. But that's it for, is there anything before the Parks, Rec, and Railroad Department? Public Works? Okay, we'll move right into the DPW.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 1, 7, and 15 of the agenda are authorized new consultant contracts for the Bridge New York projects, which I've brought. These are for the culvert projects. The first one would be a consultant contract with CHA. The second one would be a consultant contract with Barton and LaJudas. And the third one is a consultant contract with GPI. Again, this is for the culvert through Bridge New York that we were awarded, and it's 100% state funded.
I'll make that motion. Can we do all three, or do we have to split them up?
Do all three.
I'll make a motion to do all three.
Do I have a second? Diamond, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the next item on the agenda on page 28, 34, and 35 all are also part of the Bridge New York program. This is for actual bridge. This is funded not 100% state like the culverts were, but it's funded 80, 15, and 5. The first one on page 28 is to authorize the new grant. The second one on page 34 is to establish the capital project. And the third is to authorize a new consultant contract for that bridge project.
Do we have a motion? Bring this to the floor. Supervisor Hogan, seconded by Supervisor Wild. All those in favor?
Question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kevin, in the write-up, there was discussion about the techniques for replacing the bridge over Bay Road, over Halfway Brook, rather.
Correct.
But you had 3 different options of doing it, or 4 different options. Who's going to decide that? And
We will
it's not
choose...
something that's going to happen next year, but
No, we at DPW, typically the engineering staff, along with the consultant, will choose the best option. The issue with that project, the biggest issue with that project is traffic. And we're going to do everything possible to eliminate a disruption to traffic in that area. There was 3 or 4 different options on there, but they have to go through the whole design report process first to narrow down which one that would be, so we haven't reached that level yet.
thank you.
Okay, we ready for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next 3 items on page 48, 53, I'm sorry, and 41-2 are associated with the capital project, which was 13th Lake Road Bridge. This is for extra CI work, basically a supplemental agreement with DOT for the extra CI work, a supplemental agreement with the consultant for the extra construction inspection work, and then to reconcile their final project shares. This project was to rehab the bridge, and to rehab the deck, it was basically to put a rubber membrane over the deck and then pave over the top of it. When the contractor got into looking at the deck, they determined that it was unsound concrete deck, so we had to do a lot of repairs first. We went back to DOT, they said no issues whatsoever, we'll provide you a supplemental agreement to do it. And we had the contractor, of course, out there longer, as well as the consultant out there longer doing construction inspections, so this is just to cover those costs.
Someone like to move that? Supervisor Loeb, second by Supervisor McGowan? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
The next item is on page 54, which is to establish a new contract for crane services. This is one of our term agreements. We may or may not use it throughout the year, but we put it out every year. And I believe Roselle Industries was the winner for the crane.
Supervisor Garrity, Supervisor McGowan, seconded. Supervisor Loeb.
Technical question. I'm very interested to see all the prices for cranes per hour, sometimes the minimum is 4 hours, 8 hours. I see cranes sometimes they'll sit someplace for days. Is that something that the person is paying for, or is that just a storage location?
It may
Go to
be-
the next job.
It may just be a storage location. We would never have them sit for days. In fact, whenever we've used the crane services, we know that that day we're ready to move whatever, whether it be putting a bridge in place, we have them come the day we're going to do it. They may come a couple days early just to see how they're going to set up, but typically we only have them 1 or 2 days there.
If they come a couple days early, they're not going to come with the crane.
No, usually just to take a look at how they're going to set up.
Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The last item under action agenda items is transfer of salaries for snow and ice maintenance. This is just to cover some of the overtime costs. And
Supervisor Garrity?
Supervisor Garrity, I do have a total on the bottom.
Yeah, I saw that. Good man. That's why I'm making the motion.
Supervisor Merlino, any discussion? All those
January
in...
was really that bad?
Excuse me?
January was really that bad? Wow.
All those in
We had a lot,
favor?
yeah, we had a lot of snow in January, trust me, I know.
Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. On that note, do you have an update yet on that snow and ice
I don't.
data?
I don't. I'm almost
Because-
there.
Transfers at county are also transfers in the town. I'm sure all of our towns had huge increases this year, so. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have nothing under referral or pending items. Under information for discussion and review, the first is the MS4 annual report and notice for public comment period. And I will turn that over to Mr. Lieber.
All right, so this is the time of year that we put together the county's draft for review MS4 annual report, the municipal separate storm sewer system report. That's a requirement to go to the DEC by January 1st. Work with Kevin's office in compiling this through Buildings and Grounds and DPW in general. So this will be available for review until May 15th. Any comments or questions can come to my office and we'll incorporate them into the document. It's available online, or will be available starting tomorrow online at the county website, at our website. And there are 3 hard copies available, one at the Soil and Water office, one at Kevin's office, and one here at the Board of Supervisors office. So if you are interested in it, please take a look at it. Comments would be good. Basically, there are 6 minimum control measures which the county has to work on, and it's everything from outreach and education, such as maybe our office doing a stormwater training for the county or the town for the public to come to. Actually, the city of Glens Falls had one last year at the theater, so that for the city, that counted for them. All the way up into what Kevin does for good housekeeping, what they would call good housekeeping on his facilities and the county's facilities, and that's only within the defined urbanized area of the MS4 program. So the maps are in here, the copy of the plan is in here, and it's available. 3 other things I would like to leave here. We're always looking for support for the program. One of them that you get credit for is stream or watershed cleanups. We do have one advertised. We put it together. It's the last Tuesday of August, and this year it's August 27th, so I'll leave the flyer. There is also a requirement for putting storm drain markers down, you know, those little drains to lake, drains to pond, drains to something, to get volunteers to do that. And it's then the last one is water quality sampling, so actually having general public go out with our staff and do some outfall sampling that gets analyzed by the Darien Freshwater Institute. Those are all things which get conducted in our area. So if you know anybody who's interested in this type of thing, please encourage them to visit our website or call our office or come down, and there's always information here at the County Municipal Center as well. So is there anything else to add, Kevin?
Supervisor McGowan.
Yes, I would just like to, before you sit down, Mr. Lehman, I would like to, one, congratulate you on your award, that I would like, that you're so modest about it, after talking with you, and I'm not sure everybody was aware, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware, if you'd like to elaborate on the wonderful award that you brought in for you and your team.
Sure. Yes, my staff nominated me for a state award that was handed out at our symposium, and it was very unexpected. It was very humbling to see the past 25 award winners that I'm mentioned with now. But that's only possible because of the staff that I have and the board of directors that I have that allow us to do all the projects and programs across the county. So that's why it is really a recognition of the office. So thank you, Mr. McGowan.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Just want to say he makes good maple syrup, too.
Yeah.
Got quite an operation at his house.
I do have many talents.
Wait a minute.
So, but if anybody
I have
does,
that
I would
one. I don't
encourage
have
you
that
to
one.
take a look at the MS4 report, because this is a county report. The other thing is, actually, I think I actually left it in the pile that's going around there, which is fine. The county had an audit done on the MS4 program in February, and somewhere in the packet there it's going around, you received a satisfactory response from the DEC. So I think that's good. No, you either get thumbs up or thumbs down.
I didn't
So
get that one.
I had printed off 10 of them. So, and then of course, I can send those to Amanda, and Amanda will send them out. So, stream cleanup, Mr. Garrity.
Thank
I
you,
don't know
Jim.
if there's okay.
Thank you, Jim. Next item under information for discussion review is the household hazardous waste days that we talked about a couple months ago. They're scheduled, the first one being in Queensbury on June 15th, and the second one being in Warrensburg on August 3rd. We will hand out the material for that, basically to let individuals, we pass it out every year to the landfills to let individuals know what they can bring to that household hazardous waste day. The last item I have under information for discussion and review is the Olympic Regional Development Authority had contacted myself and Supervisor Simpson. They were looking for some paving work to be done up on Gore Mountain for their parking lots. We've helped them in the past on a couple things with signs and stuff up there, but they're talking about a significant amount of pavement. I talked with Supervisor Simpson about this as being my chair. This may be a good idea for us to maybe help them out. They'll pay for their own pavement, they'll pay for their own sub-base material that they need. But every year I put a paving crew together out of all my other crews in the county, and each year there's 2, 3, 4 different new individuals on that paving crew. It's never the same crew every year. Usually I keep the foreman there and possibly the operator, but a lot of the other guys change. So this would be a good training exercise for them to go up and do this parking lot, but I wanted to bring it through committee to make sure that everybody in committee was okay with that.
Supervisor Hogan?
Is this for their whole parking lot up there?
It's for the main parking lot over towards their Northwoods base, maybe. I think it's that side of the lodge, and a portion of the roadway.
I'm all for us helping them, but I have to admit, I'm a little uncomfortable with us paving a parking lot that they charge people to park in.
I skied there.
Half of the parking lot is blocked off in the winter, and they charge people for it. I'm a little uncomfortable Are they fully 100% reimbursing the county
For pavement, and they're not even paying us for the pavement. They're getting it through Peckham. They have their own contract with Peckham.
but it's our people's time?
Correct.
I'm a little uncomfortable with that.
It is training. I mean, we need, you know,
Okay.
How large is the parking lot?
About 2,100 tons of pavement.
we're looking
A
at,
mile, probably about a mile and a half of roadway.
Who's hauling it? We are?
Peckham's would be hauling it. We
Oh,
wouldn't be.
Peckham's gonna-
Yep.
Yeah, because that's about 100 some loads.
I know we're looking at contracting with the county potentially for our parking lot, but we would be paying.
But you're just talking about using a paving machine and...
Yeah. Overlay.
How many days?
2,100 tons, probably 2-3 days at the most.
Not a week.
They would have to be consecutive good days in a row.
Yes, they would.
Are we setting a precedence for other communities to come back and offer parking lots that need to be paved for training purposes?
Well,
I'm paying for it, mine.
being that I'm not the elder statesman here, but I remember the state used to pave a lot of parking lots for training purposes throughout the years. We used to see them.
I don't recall many in the city of Glens Falls.
Around our town.
Okay, so is the committee
Have we
okay with
always
that?
offered our services though? I mean, the paving crew's been out there for anybody who wants paving work done, right?
But have we ever paved a parking lot that is not, that somebody then turns around and charges?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Consensus of the committee, okay with?
I'm okay with it. If it makes
Jack?
it better.
Yeah, I'll be okay with it.
Supervisor Loeb?
Supervisor Hogan makes a good point. What if we don't do this? Where does the economy go if we don't offer this service? And as far as training, I mean, we're paving someone and giving them a crappy job because we're training people? I mean,
I hope that's not the case.
well, then why are we paying it for training?
But as I said, the bottom line is every year I put together a paving crew, and as you know, I've kept the operator, I've kept the foreman, but most of the other guys that are on the back of the paver or even on a rake, they switch every year. I don't have a set paving crew that I can say, okay, this is the paving crew every year. We offer it as a volunteer who wants to do it, and each year some fall off and some go back on. Again, it's a good training exercise. The foreman and the paving operator wouldn't allow the job to turn out as a poor job. It's just to get the guys on the screws on the back of the paver or on the rakes to know how they should go about doing it.
So it's a benefit to the county.
I would also say, you know, it goes right along with the shared services program that each town does with the state. We have, at least I know Horkin has signed a shared service agreement with the state for,
We all do.
yeah. So I think it's a state entity, it's not a private business, and we benefit greatly from Gore Mountain.
Okay.
I'm okay with it, I'm just uncomfortable with it.
It just seems to me that pretty much every department we're approving for training or for schooling, that type of stuff. This is an appropriate activity for DPW, you know, whether it's a classroom or whether it's a conference. This is what we need to do for these individuals.
Okay. Supervisor Wild?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kevin, you just gave us an overtime report. Because we need 3 consecutive nice days, does that mean that we're going to run into some additional overtime in the future because of the fact that we took these guys away from doing some of the stuff we needed to get done also?
I don't think so. As you know, we're using contractors this year to do some paving for us as well. I think I have 6, maybe 7 projects that county forces are going to do with the paver this year. Then a lot of patchwork as well. Those 6 or 7 projects, They will have them done. I'm hoping to be wrapped up by August with those, and normally we're going into November. So I don't see us having a more amount of overtime put into that.
Good.
Okay. Cynthia?
I'm fine with it.
Brad?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, let's skip to Eugene.
As long as Kevin likes it, because he always complains how bad they were years ago. So,
Okay.
more training, the better we are.
Still need a resolution.
Do you think we need a resolution? Okay.
We're all set.
Can they take some money off our Medicaid bill?
I can propose it.
Okay, privilege of the floor, anything from the committee first? Oh, did you have one more thing? I'm sorry.
I actually have one more thing to hand out. It's not in the package. Every year, DPW typically does a safety meeting. It's typically just for our employees alone. This year, we brought it to the Town Highway Superintendents Association with Amy Clue, and we're going to offer not just a Warren County employee highway safety days. It's actually going to be offered to all the towns. Amy Clute is actually going around to all the towns now, probably talking to your highway superintendents to ask them to come. It'll be held May 15th and 16th on the fairgrounds, and basically what it is a safety training day. They'll get a lot of safety training on different items. There's a little bit of a competition they're going to do there, a little truck rodeo and a mini excavator challenge. I have the flyers here to be handed out. They're also part of your packet as well on the very last page. But it's worthwhile, and it's done a lot for my employees. I think the safety in my division has improved twofold over the last couple of years because of these, and now, this again is offered for all the towns as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, do you send a copy of that to Mayor Hall? City?
I believe Amy Clue has actually gone and talked to them, but I can actually send one over as well.
Okay, anything else from the committee? Okay, Chairman Conover?
Yeah, Ryan and Kevin, under the shared services, we're interested in shared services engineering assistance that was discussed in the shared services plan. I was just wondering what authorities are going to be needed to allow those types of shared services agreements to be entered into. I understand that way I can identify which shared services we're going to have to reimburse the county for. I assume we're going to have to reimburse the county for some, if not all, the shared services. But nevertheless, we've got a couple of small bridges in Bolton that be interested in having county assistance on. Perhaps some of the other towns and municipalities also have services under the shared services arrangement. I just wanted to know the status of that.
Most, if not all, of the municipalities indicated that they would be interested in some shared engineering services. We are having the Board of Supervisors, if it's the will of the board, to approve a resolution at the next board meeting that would authorize generically IMAs for projects that are worth less than $10,000. It could be that some engineering may not fit that. It could be that it would. But I think for engineering, what we would do is if we're approached by any municipality that's interested in exploring a shared service there, we'll have the DPW department evaluate it as to whether they have enough manpower in the engineering department to do it. And if they do, if there is a need to price something out, we could do that, talk with the municipality and figure out what appropriate contractual authorization there needs to be at that point in time. But it would very much be a question of whether or not we have the bandwidth to do it.
So we are looking to streamline this in a way so that we can enter into these arrangements.
Yes, for simple pieces, yes, and the county will have an authorization in place for the staff then to work with the supervisors or the mayors to determine what the appropriate parameters would be and enter into contracts. But again, the way that was drawn up, Supervisor Strau helped on this, was for projects worth less than $10,000. We figured if there was a more significant project, the board might like to know more details about it.
Supervisor Merlino. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think it's a great idea, really. But the other problem we have, well, I don't know, both towns had it. I had two people want to do projects in the town like Luzerne. One was the library, put a deck on. So we had to go to the town to get a permit. Permit called for engineered plans. They asked me for an engineer. I gave them a couple. They came back with a $2,000 cost on engineering. So they want the town to pay it because the town, the library, which I'm not going to pay. But the point I'm trying to bring up, I mean, we should have something to help. But if you keep it under that price quote, I think, even private citizens should be able to. I know there's a lot of them around here, but it's tough to keep putting these people, especially now you're going with septic systems. Sometimes these plans cost you, $10,000-$12,000 just to get them. So we're putting a lot on the public with all the extra things that we're doing. We're doing them right, but more permits, more things, need more engineering plans. And it gets to be costly. I just did one for the town. It was $1,900 to put a little cupola off the end of my side building. My guys could have built it for less than that, but now we got engineered plans, and I have to go out and get them done right. So, but a lot of these projects start costing. So that's the only comment I have.
Okay, privilege of the floor for anybody here, the public. Jack?
Hi, my name is Jack Kelly. I'm an economic development consultant, and with me today is Steve Fisk, who's a railroad consultant, and we're here on behalf of United Rail. And just two questions. Have you selected a date when the respondents are going to be asked to come in? And second, what is your total timeline? Because if the successful bidder, whoever it happens to be, there's quite a lead time to bring equipment and other things into the area. And I'll sit down to this.
I don't know if you received a handout. If you haven't, I'll give you a copy. We're going to do, right now, I am working on a matrix we have a couple of proposals. Yours is one of them that will include in that. And I will be reaching out with any questions that I have that I can't divine from reading the proposal itself. And then we want this committee to make the decision as to who gets interviewed. We'll have a negotiating committee developed out of this committee. In terms of timeline, as soon as possible. We have, it's in our interest to get this done quickly, but thoroughly.
So will it come back to this committee at your next regular scheduled meeting, or are you going to call a meeting to make that decision?
It depends on where we are in the process. It's possible we could have a special meeting. If so, you'll be notified.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Anything further? Motion adjourned. Supervisor Wild, second by Simon. In favor? Aye.
Adjourned.